Hi, everybody. Welcome back to what I think to believe to be what is the first Minisode of the year, maybe. It's hard to keep track. The past couple of weeks have just been an absolute whirlwind. It's gone by so fast. I'm still catching up on my energy. It's been a lot. And I always hate it when people brag is probably the wrong word, but, brag, quote unquote, about how busy they are, about how tired they are, blah, blah, blah. Hey, baby, look at my baby boy. The only problem with Walter on my lap is that he doesn't sit down. Plus covering my feet. Let's move you. There we go. Yeah, I don't like it when people are always talking about how busy they are, how tired they are, their packed schedules, yada, yada, yada. We're all busy. We're all tired. So, everybody has their own unique experience. So for me, the past couple weeks have gone by really fast because we were doing some traveling, and that always just kind of takes it out of you. And I did want to, this was the point of this whole episode too, the topic, because I did a TikTok video on my check-in from what would be technically yesterday. I do my check-ins on Monday with Lindsay. Good boy. And I did a TikTok video on it. I do it every week, talking about my check-ins, what Lindsay said, how the week went, where I did good, where I could improve, things like that. And I just like doing those types of videos, for the people, because it just shows a realistic experience of how the process really is, for somebody who's doing it, the right way, right? So, yeah, I started the video out because I had to go back in time, okay, this really all kind of came to a head because of the past, you can include the holidays because it was a little bit more back and forth there, but just the past 3 weeks have been a lot. So it was the first week of January, the first 6 days really was kind of normal, technically the first full week of work, but then I was leaving on the 6th to go to Florida for the cruise. So it's do I really work? What am I really doing here? It's kind of just floating a little bit. Had a good week that week though, as far as my habits go. And then the cruise happened. We did, you know what? No, we did talk about the cruise. That was kind of the main episode that technically wasn't the mini-sode, but you know what I mean. So you know all about the cruise, how that went. I didn't track. I drank. I basically ate restaurant food the whole time because that's what you eat. There were some really good options that I did eat, and for the most part it was just restaurant food. And I had a great time. I didn't really stress that much, and at this point I've been doing this whole habit thing. I've just transformed my personal habits and my lifestyle so much that I could compartmentalize the vacation, and there were days that I probably went more ham than I should have. It's still in me, guys. She's still in there. And but for the most part though, really, even though, if you were to compare the days that I went hog wild to what I would have done 5 years ago or 4 years ago even, it's a big difference still. So that I still have to pat myself on the back for a little bit, just kind of noticing how much I have evolved over the years. And, listening to somebody who would say something like that, I would just be like, wow, you really didn't have fun because you didn't get drunk every single day, all day long. I wasn't that much of a drinker. I can drink a lot. I have a very high tolerance. But I never, ever, ever, ever in my life have gotten blackout drunk, and I've never, ever, ever thrown up because of being drunk, even the next day. Plenty of hangovers for sure, but I've always been a responsible drinker because I really didn't start drinking consistently. I've had like the few glass here and there in my early 20s, but kind of more toward my mid 20s is when I really started to be consistent with it. Anyhow, still, you know, me 4 years ago looking at myself today, I would think like, no, you're lying. You really didn't have fun because you couldn't, you know, do what you do now and all this stuff. And so we kind of actually talked about this in our team meeting, and Lindsay and I will be talking about alcohol specifically on an upcoming episode. So stay tuned for that. So I don't know what that all is to say, but just more of like, you know, give yourself a little bit of a credit, Katelynn. You still did a lot better than you would have 4 years ago. So we come back from the cruise, obviously exhausted. And, oh yeah, I got sick. You guys heard about that. I'm basically repeating myself. But the day that I recorded this week's episode, or this past episode, I had like a moment of like, I'm okay. Like I have a little energy right now. And, but it was just one of those things where it's just like life kind of does throw those little wrenches at you. I was so motivated on Monday. It's like, here's the plan for the week. I'm going to hit my numbers. I'm going to hit my steps. I'm going to do it all. I'm so fucking motivated. You don't even know. Like, this is unhinged motivation. I was so pumped. And then, like I said, Monday afternoon rolls around. I get this, like, weird headache. And I'm like, that's kind of weird. It's abnormal for me, but maybe it's just a migraine. It started to snow. I'm like, the air pressure. No. So I felt guilty for like not working out that week, and Lindsay was mad at me because I didn't tell her that was sick. Like, sorry. So it's just like one of those like mind things where it's just like physically, like there were days where I could get a solid amount of steps in. I think it was like Tuesday was the worst day where I got like 79 steps because I didn't have my watch on. So it was really only my phone tracking my steps. So it's not like I carried it literally everywhere with me. It's a little bit more than 79 steps. But you catch the drift. It was still probably less than 1,000 easily, probably less than 500. And it, you know, you just kind of, those things when like life throws that at you or anybody or myself, it's like, I can't move forward. I feel stuck. I'm ruining my progress. I have all this motivation, but I can't utilize it because I'm dog tired, like tired, sick. I can barely breathe. My head is killing me. So that was like kind of discouraging. And there were days where my macros were low. Obviously, I just didn't have an appetite. You know, the whole thing. We've all been sick, Katelynn. Shut up. So the other reasoning for like doing some serious resting was because we were leaving again on Thursday to go to a family wedding in Florida. Might as well just move there because we're there all the time. It's not sexy. Like people say, ooh, you're going to Miami. Like it's not what you think. I'm not rolling around in Miami like one would think. It's not, no. But this wedding was really fun. It was in Fort Lauderdale, which is like, you know, the rich white people. I was like, I belong here. I love this vibe. And so by Thursday, I still had the sniffles. My headache was like in and out. And, but I was better. I was like, okay, I at least can enjoy myself. I can like not be miserable, not be like waiting just to go to bed and can't wait for something to be over with and ruin everybody else's time. Because we were using his brother's car. We had his whole family with us, like on their timeline, this wedding's timeline, like you really have no say. So my macros were a little effed over that weekend too. Could you have done better, Katelynn? Probably. But, well, you know, because that weekend, yes, I could have done obviously 100% better. But again, I'm not like competing or doing anything. Like this is a lifestyle. You're at a wedding, enjoy yourself. And the food at this wedding actually was pretty good. But it did get me thinking about like the next time I travel, which will be a while, thankfully. We're not going anywhere for a long time, as far as we know. The next scheduled thing technically is going to be in September. I'm hoping there's going to be something in between that because I know I'll get the itch to go somewhere. But Yeah, so it got me thinking, like, to really get more into bringing meals with me, not like packed meal prepped meals, and figuring that out, bringing it on a plane, hoping they don't throw it away. The extra bag, like, that sounds a little like overwhelming, and like I just don't necessarily want to do that. And considering, like, if I'm rolling up to his parents' house, well, his mom's house, with like pre-cooked chicken and whatever, and she's like, oh, you could have just done that, you blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, well, I know, like, you don't want to feel so rude, because she's like the ultimate hostess, right? You can't offend those types, especially the mother. But it just got me thinking about it a little bit more, like maybe not like full-on meals, but something more than just bringing my protein powder with me, which has served me greatly and helped me so much when I do travel. I just toss it in some water and I, get closer to that macro goal. But yeah, so that kind of got me thinking, if you guys like do that, because like Casey does it, Lindsay does it, but they do that for prep, right? I'm not trying to compete or anything, but I love the idea of it. So that got me thinking. And the other thing, that because the past 3 weeks have been like just off the rails, does this tell me anything? No, it doesn't. Just because like this past couple of weeks have been off the rails, again, I still am honing that like motivation and determination to get things right, hit my goals, hit my daily goals, hit my overall goals, all of it. I actually started to dabble in time blocking. It was another thing too, like kind of the same idea, that I loved the idea of it, but the idea of it still felt so restrictive and confined that I just my day is just so unpredictable. I'm so busy. You can't predict how to skip, blah, 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 excuses. That's really all they are. Just excuses. Because I'm literally by myself all day long. Like, I don't have kids. Like, get over it. Like, stop. But regardless of what's going on in your life, I'm sure many people feel that way, that it just feels just too confined, right? And but I was like, you know what? 1, get over it. 2, make it your own. 3, you have been feeling, and I have been feeling this way, where there has been, a lot more variables in my life lately with work and the podcast, trying to grow that, give more time to it, all this stuff, that there's a lot of mental fatigue when it comes to like, what do I got to do today? The pressure to have my 9 to 5 be successful, and the podcast to be successful, and have, a social life, and, enjoy my life, right? There's all that like mental fatigue and the overwhelm of like making decisions, and constantly, and with my 9 to 5, like I feel there's just so much, there's so many variables with it. It's recruiting, so it's like it's a constant hustle. Hustling people down, data entry, and calling and talking all day long. And so I thought, like, with this time blocking, the reason why I liked the idea of it was because it felt like it could relieve a lot of that. So I started to do it on Monday. And I was like, okay, you don't, especially with like the 9 to 5, because there's so many variables and there's a lot of unpredictability with recruiting. And I feel like this sounds so fucking boring. I'm sorry, but I'm talking about it. Too bad. You cannot click stop. But yeah, with my 9 to 5, there are a lot of variables and there's a lot of unpredictability with it. Something will happen. You got to do it right then and there. Like, it cannot wait. So instead of like trying to like time block my 9 to 5, I just time block the 9 to 5. Like, from these several hours, you're going to work on your main job. And then, but just putting it out, like, I'm waking up at this time, having my coffee, and then, Monday I'm going to work out from 8 to 9. then from 9 to 10, I'll work on the podcast and the FFP stuff. And then from 10 to like on a regular day, it'll be like 10 to 4:30, you know. And then throughout the week, I'll dabble in like an hour or two with, you know, what if I need to record an interview, if I need to do some editing, you know, things like that. Like it didn't have to be so specific. I thought like it just felt like it had to be that way or a certain way that I just didn't like. So Mark and I actually went to a hockey game last night, and I planned out the rest of my week while I was sitting there while the game was going on. Hockey game was really fun. I love going to hockey games. So I am, all that to say, I don't know, but that's what I'm doing. I'm evolving over here. Big Katelyn's turning into a big girl. She's becoming an adult and doing these adulty things. But again, it's like I'm really gonna get stuck into like routines. And there's like, I'm the type of person that would just throw a wrench into it just because. Whether that be like drink 2 bottles of wine tomorrow night or go on a trip. And actually, you know what? Sometimes like trips in the past have actually served me really well with my goals because I'm so nervous to get too far off the rails that I'll do better while I'm away versus when I'm at home in my state of comfort and predictability and routine. Maybe I should do that more often. Anyhow, so that's what's going on over here. We're evolving, and it is still the new year, so happy new year. I don't know how long it's been. I can't read things. Literally though, like happy new year, and I still want to hear how it's going for you, what your guys' 2024 aspirations are, and how that's going. You know, I should look at my list of what I wrote down. I'm pretty sure I had a little list of like what I'm hoping for in the new year, and I'm off to a good start though, at least right at this very second, not the first 3 weeks. And I'm still kind of getting over my sickness and catching up on my sleep. We didn't go to bed till like 11:30 last night because this stupid hockey game. We got like the tickets at like the last second, like 5 o'clock. The game started at 7, and we're both like looking at each other. I just really want to stay home. But they were really good seats, like like next to the glass, and that's the best place to be for a hockey game. It's just the energy is unmatched, the intensity is unmatched, and I love it. We should get season tickets. I might be a diehard hockey fan at one point in my life. Who knows? But yeah, so we were looking at each other last night, like we just really want to be home. But we ended up going because we both like kind of feed off of each other's FOMO. It's funny because like if he weren't here and he was single or whatever, I would have stayed home. If I got offered the tickets, like I would have stayed home. I'm like, no, thank you. But we both see it just the tiniest little twinkle in each other's eyes. Like it would be kind of fun though, but also like we just really want to be home. Fun sounds funner, so let's do that. We're getting better, but we usually, to be honest, sometimes we do get drinks when we go to these hockey games, but I was like, we're not drinking, just get some food, that's it. And we're walking around like, what do we do? We're usually spending like a few $100 at these dumb games because of stupid drinking. So I was really happy that we didn't do that. But yeah, so I am looking forward to this next year, and I just feel so evolved right now. I'm just on this good roll. Mentally, I just feel a lot clearer, which is really nice. That's why I talked about the whole time blocking. It sounds so boring. It's so dumb, but I'm a big proponent, and I've been like this probably my entire life, and I've obviously evolved, and it gets better as I get older. But I've always been a big proponent of like what I give my mental and physical energy to, and that's why things don't bother me that much. I'll get my blood will boil, things will get me riled up, or something will rev my engine, and it'll get me going. But for the most part, like little things like loading the dishwasher, Anna, you should take some notes. It just doesn't matter. You know what I mean? And I've talked about this before that, if this is gonna matter when I'm on my deathbed, then let's talk about it. Let's do something about it. But right now, it doesn't seem like it. So if it matters more to you, you do your thing. You go for it. I don't care. Like, I really don't care. So I've always really been like that throughout the years. Of just it's so easy to let things go because it's just, what is it doing for me? Like, what is it going to serve me tomorrow? How is this going to impact me today? How is it going to impact me tomorrow, next year, next week, anything? Literally ask yourself that with everything in your life, and the easier your life will get, and the more at peace you'll become with your surroundings. And you might even realize how much you feel like you need to control stupid shit. I'm constantly having to let go of stuff. Like last night when we were trying to get our Uber, I was like, I'm calling it because I'm not going to walk like 8 blocks. It's not 8 blocks, but walking out of the Bridgestone Arena right on downtown Broadway. It's a flood of people hitting the streets, and they block off the street. I forgot that they blocked off the streets, let's be fair. But I was like, every time Mark calls the Uber, we have to walk. It's cold. It's like several blocks to this point that he thinks is the best. And I just think it's dumb. I'm just like, this is so stupid. We don't have to put all this effort into it. I was wrong. Well, first of all, when you opened up the Lyft app from the stadium, it was like, here are the drop-off and pickup points for Lyft. Like, oh my God, perfect. Let's pick this one. No, she's going around. She has to go not just around the block, but around like 5 blocks because they've blocked off that much. And so we ended up having to walk the exact same amount that we normally do when he calls it. And I could just feel him. I could just feel his energy just being like, I fucking told you so, you bitch. I told you, but you wanted to do it. Blah, blah, blah. But he's such a good guy that he kept his mouth shut. But when we got the car, the girl was like, when I accepted your ride, I was right by Bridgestone Arena and they hadn't blocked off anything. So like I was just like seconds, like a minute too late for requesting it. So I technically would have been right if I was just a little bit quicker to the punch. So good example. All right. Well, I think that is enough of my jibber jabber. So again, Happy New Year. Come see us in the Facebook group. Please share and recommend the podcast. We are really looking forward to a year of growth. And we have some great guests lined up that I am really looking forward to. We'll be doing about 1 guest a month just to kind of throw a wrench into it, mix things up as far as like, the content that we produce all the time. So click that share button if you haven't, if you love your neighbor. Love thy neighbor, share thy episode, and I don't think I have any like updates or anything, but okay. Well, until next week, guys, you have a great, great, great weekend. Love you. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the FFP Alignment Podcast. Please support us by downloading, rating, and recommending us to your friends and family. Be sure to check us out on Instagram at the FitFemme Project. That's FITFEMME Project. And for those of you looking to find their essential balance of lifestyle and fitness, book a free consult by going to thefitfemmeproject.com. That's FITFEMME Project.com and click Apply Now. Until next time, this is the FitFemme Project Alignment Podcast.